Hey, how's it going? I just thought I would post up a quick explanation video kind of describing these videos and this type of training and why I'm doing it. Basically, this type of training was initially developed by a strength and conditioning coach named Charlie Francis. He developed these for track and field athletes as a way to develop and maintain their aerobic capacity without overly affecting their speed and power characteristics. I find a lot of sword fighting to be more speed power based, more so than say an endurance sport like marathon running. So I thought I would try out this type of training, and I found it worked very well for me. So to be clear, I didn't build my aerobic capacity using this type of training. That was developed through playing a lot of other sports, doing other martial arts, as well as a lot of really more traditional running protocols, and ended up doing a lot of triathlon protocols as well. So there's been a lot of running, a lot of swimming, a lot of biking to build my aerobic capacity, but I found this particular method to be a very efficient way to kind of maintain it. But that being said, I did do some work to kind of build into this type of training. So the way the protocol works is you do some interval of aerobic work in a kind of a medium pace, so maybe 60 to 70% of your maximum sprint capacity. So let's say you can do 100 miles an hour on the bike, you'd be kind of living between 60 and 70 miles an hour, let's say. Doesn't matter what you can do, like I use a bike, rower, jump rope, run, heavy bag, whatever. Your aerobic system doesn't know the difference, right? So anyways, you do a set interval of that followed by some type of exercise. And that interval usually takes about a minute. And then, so over time, I started out doing, say, 6 rounds of 30 seconds for the aerobic activity. And then I would basically do two sets of 6 rounds. And then I would do 2 sets of 7 rounds, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then I would increase the amount of time from 30-second intervals to 35-second intervals. And now what I try to do is I maintain 2 sets of 12 45-second intervals. And in between those, I'm doing some type of exercise. So that leaves me with 24 sets of some exercise to play with. And when I was building up my aerobic capacity using this methodology, I do this type of workout 4 or 5 times a week. Now just to maintain, it just takes twice a week to kind of maintain this level of aerobic capacity. So as far as the type of exercises I do, it kind of depends on what type of training block I'm in. So if I'm on, say, a deload week, or I'm trying to maintain a little bit of strength, so I don't have a lot of time to get into the gym for strength training, I might incorporate more strength and power movements. So I have a whole playlist dedicated to that. Otherwise, if I like right now, when I'm solidly doing a fair amount of strength training, I'll actually use this time for some what's called prehab. Prehab's kind of a bro term that I'm using for movements that were prescribed to me by a physical therapist for injuries I've had in the past. In almost every instance that I've been in a situation where I've been working with a physical therapist, even after I've recovered, they've recommended some type of maintenance volume of the exercise, just to help prevent injury, this recurrence of the same type of injuries in the future. So what type of exercises should those be? Well, that's up to you and your medical professionals. And if you've never had an injury, awesome, good for you. Keep it up. But I guess along those lines, sometimes I'll also substitute in functional movement patterns, either in direct support of sword fighting. So for me, that's kind of throwing shots at a medium pace with a heavier sword, or sometimes a steel pipe as a stand-in, or kind of moving in different planes. So a lot of strength movements are what's called the sagittal plane, and I'll do more movements in kind of the transverse or frontal planes. If you have any questions about that, there's lots of other better resources that can explain that type of thing to you, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have either as well. So anyways, I hope you found that helpful. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks.